Hey everyone, what's up? Yeah, it's a little after midnight going on, well, 1 in the morning, so it's kind of my fault, but I'm gonna be getting some rest here after this, but I thought I'd come on here and you kind of see the title of this live stream, and basically the question is, you know, how do we know? How do we know that season 9 is the last season of Friendship is Magic? I think the honest answer is we don't. We don't know whether or not it's the last season because we've had that notion thrown at us before, not just with Friendship is Magic, but with other shows, and usually the show we think's going to end ends up staying on board, ends up staying afloat, and to me, it's almost like basically Hasbro themselves, even though Hasbro and DHX have come out and said, yeah, this is it. Sometimes studios will do that to kind of throw you off because they might look at the bigger picture and be like, you know what, we want to do Gen 5 and we could still do Gen 5, but at the same time, we could still do Gen 4. And what that means is there have been times throughout history with animated series and even live action series where the current generation runs with a new generation, I should say, runs alongside the old generation. In other words, you have this all new series with all new episodes, this all new, retcon reboot, and at the same time, you have these newer episodes based on the current generation or the previous generations running as well. And I honestly would not be surprised that later on this year, we get an announcement that says, um, Friendship is Magic is going to continue for a 10th season. I would not be surprised by that. Um, because to me, I think the show, whether you like to admit it or not, it may have its ups and downs currently and in the past couple of years with some of its stories, but I think honestly it's done well enough, not just toy sales and merchandise sales like what you see here in the back of me, as well as you've seen throughout sites like Facebook and Twitter and DeviantArt and YouTube and all that. But I think the movie itself speaks volumes because it had a budget of so much, and through its countless releases, not just stateside but worldwide, it's over succeeded that budget. It's made up more than its share when it comes to that budget with its box office returns. So to me, I think it's just a matter of time before maybe they make an announcement saying, "Hey, we're going to do a 10th season." Because I think it might seem a little sensible, maybe to the people at Hasbro and at DHX, that hey, perhaps a full decade wouldn't hurt, and then after that, they can primarily focus on Gen 5. Um, long after season 10 is over. And I think that could work. I think honestly it probably would work. You know, if they decide to do that. I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to announce it. Look, I'm not saying they're going to announce a 10th season. For all we know, the ninth season could be it. But when you have such a successful show as this, it seems kind of weird just to end it off on an odd number of seasons. It really does. Now, like I said, I'm not saying they're not going to do that because they might. And there have been plenty of animated and live action shows that have ended on an odd season number. And Friendship is Magic wouldn't be the last, or wouldn't be Friendship is Magic, I should say, wouldn't be the first, and it wouldn't be the last. That's the way I look at it. It wouldn't be the first, and it wouldn't be the last. That's how I look at it. It wouldn't be the first, and it wouldn't be the last. Um, but when I look at what's going on currently with season 8, and how already all of a sudden, and this is a bit of spoilers in case people know in case no one has seen the episode yet, but what I'm seeing them doing with season 8, to the point that recently, this past weekend, we got introduced to, mainly from what synopsis has said about her, our antagonist, the filly known as Cozy Glow, our antagonist, or one of our antagonists for the season 8 finale. I'm thinking, well, yeah, it's great. I'm thinking, my thought process is, okay, it's great we're getting introduced to her early so we can see who she is, hear what she sounds like, and all that. But that's all we know right now. We don't know what kind of role she's going to play in the finale, and we will get. And I do give him credit for that, the fact that we don't know. But if they're already introducing basically one of the big bads or one of the big antagonists in Cozy Glow, already, basically an episode before the mid-season finale episode, which airs this Saturday, then it kind of makes me wonder if perhaps they have more stories planned for the future. And I'm not just talking season 9. It makes me wonder if perhaps they got more stories to contribute for the show. It makes me really wonder that. And again, I'm not saying that they have to continue the show into a 10th season. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I just get this vibe that right now we are close to convention season, and I mean major convention season. I mean, yeah, we've had BabsCon and we've had these licensing expos and all that, but we're getting to a point right now to where the major cons of the summer are coming up. And I'm talking San Diego Comic-Con, and as far as MLP fans are concerned, BronyCon. These are two of the biggest conventions of the year as far as MLP, Brony, and Pegasisters, the overall fan base is concerned when it comes to the show. So to me, we're either going to hear something or get some kind of hint between these two conventions, between the time frame of these two conventions. We're going to hear something, possibly about a 10th season, or they're going to hold it off all the way up to at least San Diego Comic-Con or BronyCon of next year, or even BabsCon of next year, where we would get the announcement of, oh yeah, by the way, we're doing a 10th season. But I just get this nagging feeling that, we're already getting introduced to one of our main antagonists, kind of a sheep in Philly's clothing, if you will, and it's in an episode before the mid-season finale. So to me, it's just, like a lot of people, it just kind of throws me off a little bit. It kind of throws me off a little bit. When I look at the episode, kind of throws me off. Not. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Them showing their hand as far as the first of the antagonists for this season is concerned is them running out of ideas. To me, it's the opposite. I think they're setting up the door. They're setting up. What I'm saying is, I think they are setting themselves up for another season after season 9. And what I see here is they're giving us little tidbits. Marks for Effort gave us tidbits with the fact that they introduced us to the first of the main antagonists of the finale. Tidbits, other main tidbits are they're giving us a special finally, a non-Equestria Girls 44-minute holiday special. Something they should have done a long time ago. Hints at the fact that they're letting us know who the main villain is for season 9. How many episodes it's going to be. The fact that the 200th episode is going to be special, similar to episode 100. Now you might say, well, those are all clues pointing to the fact that the series is coming to an end. That might be true, but I just don't see it, really. And it's not because I want the series to continue. I mean, starting out fresh and all that is great. Get a new audience in there. I'm not saying I'm against that. What I'm saying is that I get this over-nagging feeling that season 9's not the end. I just get this over-nagging feeling it's not. Now, again, could I be wrong? Absolutely. Someone. Like I said, could I be wrong? Absolutely. There's no doubt I could be wrong. There's no doubt I could be wrong, but I just feel that with everything they're telling us already and leaking or tweeting and stuff, I mean, just all the information we're getting, I just believe we're going to get another season. I really do. And like I said, it's not because I don't want the series to end. Like I said, starting out fresh is good. But just like some people, just like Dr. Wolf, just like Anthropony, Map, and a few others had this uneasy feeling about Cozy Glow, even though they pretty much know exactly what her role is going to be come towards the end of this season. To play it off at the fact that, like anybody else that probably didn't read about spoilers or anything, or didn't read the leaks or look into the leaks, for them to get that uneasy, just like a lot of those people probably did, a lot of those fans did, get that uneasy feeling about this kid, about this filly, like there's something off about her. It's like, why was she just all of a sudden, boom, outside the CMNC's clubhouse? Why was there that scene when she was learning about the elements and she was learning mostly about Twilight's element, the element of magic? She was looking at it intently and you saw a reflection of the element in her eyes. It's like something was just off about this character. There was just something off about her. Now, in relation to me feeling that way about this whole, season 9 is going to be it, there's just something off about that. It's like, you're this close to doing a decade's worth of a show. And if you want to end it at 9 seasons, fine. But knowing how a company, having this overwhelming feeling of how a company like Hasbro and DHX Media work, even if something is maybe in the eyes of the fans or certain fans not doing as well as it should, but still doing successful enough where merchandise is moving, toys, merchandise of all kinds is moving. The movie that you made or you planned back in 2014 over exceeded your expectations at the box office and made back more than its budget. Something tells me they're going to take that all into consideration. And like I said, either at Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con this year, BronyCon this year, or at BabsCon next year, or one of the two conventions, San Diego Brony next year. They're going to make the announcement, maybe even at HasCon for all we know. But I don't think it would be HasCon. That would be a little too soon. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. But either one of those four, either one of these conventions, either the two coming up this year, the four next year, including the same conventions that are coming up this year. Either way, we're going to find out information. And I think the information we're going to get is really going to shouldn't really be much of a surprise. It really shouldn't, because I think when fans see, when they see this episode, or when they see this, basically what I'm saying is, I think as time goes on, we're going to get a lot of hints and a lot of clues thrown our way. It may not be big hints or clues, but we're going to get enough thrown our way to where we'll be like, you know what? I think there's going to be a 10th season. Because, like I said, you got to take everything into consideration. And there's an old saying, too. Plans can change. Right now, yes, they have plans for 2020, being the debut year of Gen 5. But plans could change. They could still air Gen 5 at the same time they air the final season, the 10th season of MLP, Friendship is Magic, because they want to do that. Coincide with each other. They could do that. And ironically, that's a great business decision to make, because not only do you have your established fan base's eyes still on the current product, but right after the airing of that current product, you could go do back-to-back airings. You could do Friendship is Magic, and then you could do Gen 5. And then not only would you have the eyes go from watching the newest episode of Season 10, if there is a Season 10, and I have this strong indication we're going to get something in the works, but those eyes will travel right over to Gen 5. It makes sense. And I think Megan McCarthy and I think Hasbro, I think they all know that. I think they all know that, honestly. I think they really all know that. Now, honestly, they're not going to come out and, like I say, immediately say what's going to happen. I'm not saying, like I said, they're immediately going to come out and say that's going to happen, because, like I said, they still got maybe a few months before they want to hint at something, or at least another year before they want to choose what place, what convention, what event they want to come out and say, yeah, season 10's happening. But again, just like people, like from Wolf to Map to anybody else that's reviewed Marks for Effort and had that uneasy feeling about Cozy Glow, even though I'm pretty sure a lot of them already know about her role later on, but they're playing it off as if they don't, with all due respect. Just like that uneasy feeling they got from her, I get the same uneasy feeling of the fact that, I get not the uneasy feeling, but I get this feeling that Hasbro's not telling us everything, and that Hasbro's going to try to surprise us with the announcement of a 10th season. Because remember, we didn't know about what was going to happen after season 3, and then all of a sudden season 4 was announced, and then, oh my gosh, history was made from there and continues to be made. Well, basically history, the rest was history, as the old saying goes. The rest was history, and history continues to be made right now because of the announcement that we got a 4th season. Everybody thought season 3 was, that's it, the end. No. Season 4 and onwards, the rest is history, and it continues to make history. So, like I said, I don't think they're gonna come. I don't think they're gonna come out right away and hint at something. I mean, well, what I'm saying is, I don't think they're gonna come out right away and announce it, but I think they're gonna drop little hints here and there that we're gonna get a 10th season possibly, although they're strongly considering a 10th season. Because you can't tell me they're not just working on season 9, but they're probably also working on concepts for season 10 or possible season 10. So just be aware of that. Just be aware of that. There's that possibility there. You know, like I said, there's that possibility there. So, like I said, don't be surprised if you get some. Don't be surprised that as we get closer to 2019 and we get closer to season 9, that we get hints dropped at us, little hints, Easter eggs dropped at us at a possible season 10 being announced sometime next year, probably around the 2019 BabsCon, maybe San Diego Comic Con, Everfree, who knows? So that's just my opinion, though. I could be wrong, and maybe they will end on an odd season, but on an odd season number. But I don't think they will. Honestly, I don't think they're going to do that because you know I think they would feel. I believe, in my opinion, they would feel that it would just be a little too weird for them to do that. I really do. I think they feel. I think Hasbro would feel like, hey, it might be just a little too weird to end the season on such an odd, end the show, I should say, end the series on such an odd season number, if you know what I mean. So, but again, that's just my opinion. Now, here's the thing. I talked about season 9 and basically who the villain is in that season, which is going to be Grogar, this demonic ram that is king. Basically, he's like the Lord of Darkness. He rules over this world, shadow realm or shadow world called Tambalan or Tombalon or something like that. And he's a necromancer like character. And when I saw what his original design looked like, when I saw his original, when I saw his original design look like, I said when I saw what his original design looked like, and quite honestly, I do have the original series. Let's see what it says here. Okay, this is Brony's wiki. Let's see. Okay, so all right, the return of Tambalan, which was a G1 episode, was a 4-part episode. Each segment was 10 minutes long, and it was the 8th story in the first series of My Little Pony and Friends. It aired in the US between October 20th and 23rd of 1986. So basically, it was a 4-parter. Now, basically, basically, according to this, when he appeared in those episodes, basically was a 4-part episode, 4-part story. Now, I've talked about this before. I've talked about this before when it comes to season 9. I said season 9 has to, if season 9 is the last season, it has to go out with a bang. Now, if if they stay true to his original story, his character, and here's the thing. If they stay true to his character, basically, let's see. Okay, here's what Villains Wicca says. The Wicca page for the Wicca site for Villains says. It says Grogar is an evil demonic ram necromancer and the leader of a kingdom named Tambalon, who once ruled Ponyland. In this case, it would be Equestria or Canterlot, with an iron hoof 500 years before he was defeated when the ancient bell was rung. Now, in Friendship is Magic, he's defeated by a group of unicorn ponies, mostly the leader, Gusty the Unicorn. This banished him and the city to the Shadow World, or in this case, to Tartarus. Maybe like solitary confinement portion of Tartarus. He then returned to Ponyland, possibly Equestria in this case, 500 years later, capturing all the unicorn ponies. Keep that in mind. Think about the characters in Friendship is Magic who are unicorns, especially main characters. There's the word Rarity, Starlight, Sunburst, Twilight, Lyra, Moon Dancer, Minuet, Lemon Heartstrings, whatever her other name was. Does those names ring a bell? Does Trixie ring a bell? Does Twilight Sparkle ring a bell? Does Celestia, Luna, Cadence ring a bell? Does Shining Armor ring a bell? And you know who else could be affected by this? We've always wanted that connection somehow, right? Especially on the Friendship is Magic side of things. Sunset Shimmer. Because what is Sunset Shimmer? Unicorn. That could be. So him showing up could have some major consequences, not just for the alicorns and unicorns, but also for a certain unicorn turned human, if you catch my drift. Now, here's what they say about his reference in Friendship is Magic. This is what they say. And this is from villainswicca.com. This is what they said. And I quote, in the G4 series, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, Grogar has yet to make a physical appearance. That will happen next season. However, he was mentioned in the Season 7 episode, A Flurry of Emotions, as part of a story called Gusty the Great. As told in the book by Twilight Sparkle, he is the main antagonist of the book, and the nemesis of Gusty and her unicorn warriors. He encounters them on top of the hill that leads to Cloudsdale. So you're going to have some Rainbow Dash involvement. So you're definitely going to have some Rainbow Dash involvement when it comes to this. I mean, personal involvement. The Unicorn Warriors shot magical beams into the cloud and wrapped Grogar and pulled him to the ground. But Grogar manages to break through the bonds as fear gave him power. Now they do say that it is unknown if Grogar is the same demonic ram as in G1 or if he is a different species. His fate in the book is left unknown, as well as Gusty's. Now, here's what some people have said about that. Just like with the pillars, because remember, Campfire Tales, Daring Done, and Health of Information, everybody thought that some of the pillars were just myths, legends. And yet, ironically, as we have learned, they were real. They weren't just legends or myths, they were real. As was the Pony of Shadows. So what that tells us is if my suggestion that season 9 has to go out with a bang, then it's going to go out with a bang, and we're going to get introduced to some new characters, mostly Unicorn Warriors, and prepare for toys, for Hasbro to start selling those kind of toys when the time comes. Because it will happen. It will happen down the line. So don't be surprised if it does. But it's going to happen. Now, like I mentioned in a video I did earlier, towards the latter part of my lunch yesterday, I talked about how certain situations, how his role could be summed up here. Now, if he stays true to who he was originally, maybe a few tweaks here and there, because look, they did the same with Turek. Remember, Turek's character in G1 had the Dark Rainbow, and he used the Dark Rainbow to turn four ponies, one of them including the original G1 Applejack, into demonic dragons to pull his chariot through the sky, so he can spread his darkness. In G4, all he did was absorb the magic from all of Equestria, just like according to synopsis he's planning to probably do in the Season 8 finale. But he was pulling all the magic, draining everybody of the magic to have for his own. So he can rule Equestria with an iron fist and destroy anything and just cause war and destruction. Now, we take a look at another G1 character, the Smooth. Completely opposite of what he was in the movie, in the G1 movie. I mean, he still was slimy, smoothie, covered ponies in smooths and all that, but he was completely different. Now we get to Grogar. How he's going to be represented is up in the air, but I think honestly, if they take elements of what Twilight mentioned in that story and add that on to his original profile, his original description from G1, and put that together as one argument of description, one basically huge. Well, basically, if they take what we learned about him, his G4, learned about a little bit of his G4 self, and combine that and merge that with the elements of his original G1 persona and purpose and stuff like that, you are going to have a major threat on your hands here. And like I said, if there's any time for this, if there's any time for this series to end with a movie finale, or to have a movie finale for the series, if there's any opportunity, this is it. Because remember, G1 had 4 episodes dedicated to this. Can G4 top that with 4 episodes, maybe 5? Who knows? I know some people are sitting here. I know some people will probably be sitting there and listening and watching and be like, well, the limitations are only 2-parters. That might be true. But I think with the fact that we're getting a 44-minute holiday special at the right at the end of season 8, after season 8 ends, and the fact that we're getting freaking Sombra coming back at the beginning of season 9, according to sources, and the fact that could tie into with Grogar appearing, that tells me, without a shadow of a doubt, to coin the phrase, that we're going to get a 4-part series finale if season 9's the last season. I really do. And if not a 4-part season finale or series finale, it'll be a freaking movie finale for the series. Because if he's being built up as his threat, then you need to have a finale worthy of that threat. And like I said, there's no doubt that throughout the season, we're going to probably have the main 6, main 7 go on quests, go on friendship missions and all that are going to tie into them, trying to find some magic that relate to Gusty the unicorn and her unicorn warriors to, find so they can combat Grogar when they finally face him. There is no doubt we're probably going to get that. Now, somebody said in the comments that the equivalent of the Unicorn Warriors and Gusty will be Twilight and the main 6 or the main 7. They will be the ones that will be the current present representation of the Unicorn Warriors and Gusty. And that's probably true. That's probably true. You want to end the series by focusing on the characters that people became fans of and became fans of and are very much beloved. On the other hand, I could see them doing that for most of the season, but I could see it coming down to the fact that even though that's a possibility and they might do that, they might throw a wrench at us and make us think it's going to be Twilight and her friends that do it, but then we're going to find out that it's got to be Twilight, Rarity, Trixie, Luna, Sunburst, Starlight, Sunset, all the unicorns and alicorns together. That will be basically what I'm saying is we're going to probably get a twist to where we think it's going to be the main 7, but it's going to be revealed that they're not going to be enough, and that the only true way to defeat him will be with all the unicorns and alicorns coming together to use that magic against him. I can see them pulling that. I can see them pulling that twist. I really can. It's kind of reminiscing of the ending of Beyond Good and Evil, which was the X-Men, I think, season 4, 4-part premiere, where basically Apocalypse, and this was X-Men the animated series, basically Apocalypse had kidnapped all these psychics from all of space and time and across the universe to try to help him reshape time and control time in his image. But once they were set free, the very psychics he captured were the ones that defeated him and caused him to go into some kind of limbo and become non-existent for the time being. What I'm saying is I wouldn't put past the writing team and the creative staff to do something like that. To have it look like it's going to be the main 7, main 6, main 7, that's going to defeat him, basically be the present generation, the present day answer to Gusty and the Unicorn Warriors, but then it's going to turn out that they will not be enough, and that the only ones that can defeat him would be all the unicorns and alicorns around, because it happened before, it can, because basically, if history shows anything, it happened before, it has to happen again. And that would be the only way. Now, the other thing that I said that could really help this season go out with a bang is if we get a cliffhanger that ties into Gen 5. Because if you're going to present Grogar as this threat, and like I said, it's up to maybe mostly the unicorns, maybe the main 7 as well, or maybe the rest of the main 7 as well, to defeat this guy. But defeating him is going to cause some kind of rift. Like maybe we get some kind of warning or something that, the world, something's going to happen, that the world may change as we know it. And the way it changes is that we get this bright light at the end and it eclipses everybody. It just eclipses. You just get this major one last hurrah on both ends of power. And basically that causes a major, like, what's the word? That causes a major influx or whatever, some kind of overload, if you will, that basically everything around them, everybody, the world and everything just start to disappear in a whiteout, sort of a whiteout in some kind of glorious white blaze. And all of a sudden, at the end, when everything just finally gets eclipsed by it, we get word saying to be concluded in Gen 5, or to find out what happens, tune into Gen 5, or whatever it's going to be called. And that way, you have eyes wanting to know what's going on, wanting to know what's next, that several months later, they will tune into Gen 5 just to see what's happening. Again, it's a possibility. I'm not saying they would go that route, but it's a possibility if you want to keep fans' attention. You want to keep that established fan base, young and old, kids and adults. You want to keep their eyes glued to MLP, and especially the new show. That's the one way to do it. And like I said before, you could have the first episode of Gen 5 begin with the big blast just, suddenly decreasing and going from a white fade out to a white fade in. And then you notice that all the ponies, all the main 6, maybe the main 7, if Starlight's there, along with Spike, notice that, not only is Grogar gone, but things have changed, and some of the friends have also disappeared. Like, they don't know where they've gone, but they also notice, wait a minute, we have changed. Like, this is where Twilight would find out, oh my God, it got turned into an Earth. I mean, basically, they'll notice the changes they've gone through. Like, Twilight will notice she's no longer an Alicorn, but she's an Earth pony. Fluttershy will notice she's no longer a Pegasus. She's a unicorn. Applejack will notice she's got a whole new look, maybe a new voice to go along with it. Pinky will notice she's no longer an Earth pony, but now she's a Pegasus. Rainbow Dash will see she's still a Pegasus, but almost partially Hippogriff. Stuff like that. And I think it could work. And Rarity would even notice that she's still pretty much the same, but her horn's longer, her hair's long, her mane and tail a little longer, and she's a little bit more translucent. The point is, and she's got like some kind of little tiara on her head or something. But the point is, you want to keep people's attention. You want to get them to be focused on that new series. That's one way to do it. And if you're promoting this Grogar character to be as powerful as he is that he's worthy of being the last antagonist they ever go up against in Gen 4. This is one way for the series to go out and help establish the new series at the same time. And basically show that he's such a powerful character that he caused us, along with the unicorns and the rest of the main 7, that along with all the unicorns and alicorns and the rest of the main 7, he caused basically this reset, this soft reboot to the world to occur, and these changes to occur as we speak. So, again, I think that's one way you could keep eyes on. You can get eyes on that new show if you connect them like that, because again, that would prove how much of a powerful villain he is. That he's caused this to happen even in defeat. And you could even use Gen 5 as a sort of a story arc to help them try to reset the world back to what it was, similar to what we saw in Gen 4. As well as trying to establish and readjust themselves to the new surroundings. Or get familiar with surroundings that are familiar with them but different. So that's really all I have to say on this whole issue, because again, knowing how Hasbro works and knowing how they will notice that the MLP movies over succeeded their expectations at the box office worldwide. Seeing that even though the show is kind of going up and down, is still viewing rating success, through Discovery Family and all these international channels, as well as Netflix and all that. As well as they will see the merchandise sales, toys and everything, still being up there. I'm not going to be surprised that either throughout this season and throughout the rest of this year, we get little hints dropped here and there, maybe at the upcoming conventions that I mentioned, San Diego and Brony, that they might be considering a 10th season. And if they are, I wouldn't put it past them come BabsCon next year, maybe New York Comic Con later this year as well, where we might get more hints. But I wouldn't put it past them come BabsCon and San Diego Comic Con or BronyCon or even HasCon of next year to announce that there's going to be a 10th season. I wouldn't put it past them to do that, seeing the success that the show and the franchise, the current generation of the franchise has. And it wouldn't be the first time that a current generation ran alongside a new generation. I'm just saying. But if not, like I said, I think the best thing for them to do is have the series, have season 9 go off with go out with a bang. Literally, it's got to go out with a bang. No doubt about it. And if episode 200 is going to be, something like who knows what it's going to be. Hopefully it's another love letter to the fans. Because the last thing I think the fan base wants is another Fame and Misfortune like episode. But I think some people like Malinimus, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, said it best. We might get some questions answered. We might get, because 200 is just going to be, it'll be in canon somewhat and in continuity, but it'll be one of those episodes to where they'll look at it and they'll be like, you know what, let's use this episode to just answer all these questions, tie up a few of these loose ends and go with it. We might get Sparity officialized. We might get the Rarity Spike relationship, Sparity, officially canon and continuity, and put in continuity finally romantically with 200. As well as we might get this with Big Mac and Sugar Bell. We might get this answered about Celestia and Luna's past. We might get this answered about Cadence's past. We might find out things a little bit more about the background ponies. Maybe we'll get more time with Lyra and Bonbon. They won't come out and officially say the lesbian ponies, but still. So we might still get time with them. Again, we might get an episode to where Lyra, Bonbon, Moondancer, Lyra, Bonbon, Octavia, Vinyl Scratch, DJ Pone, Moondancer, and Sunset, who would get called through the journal back to Equestria, go on a friendship mission because they're called by the friendship map, because the other main 6 or main 7 are on another friendship mission. And that could tie in to what happens later on with our main antagonists. I'm just saying. So a lot of interesting concepts could come from 200. We'll just have to wait and see what they have planned. Maybe they'll drop hints. But again, that's really all I could say on whether or not season 9 is the last season, because we don't really know. Like I said, knowing Hasbro, they might announce a 10th season. Who knows? We'll just find out as the year goes on what hints and stuff they'll drop at us, and maybe eventually we'll find out. Maybe eventually we'll get an answer come either. I'd say the very earliest would be New York Comic Con, but I think the very latest and best bet on any kind of answer would be between BabsCon and BronyCon. or BabsCon and HasCon. Any one of those conventions next year is when you'll probably get a straight answer about a 10th season happening, if it does. So that's all I'm really going to say, guys. I'm going to go lay down. I got to get up for work in a couple of hours. So let me know what you guys think. And matter of fact, let me check what you guys have to say here. If any of you did comment. Because I really do appreciate you guys tuning in late and while I'm doing this. And yes, I am now about 40 videos away from 10,000, just to let you guys know. So again, let me see what we got here. We got any kind of comments? Let me see. No, it doesn't look like any comments whatsoever. But hopefully you guys will comment later on when it's already been uploaded and stuff. So yeah, I just thought I'd come out and do this video and give my thoughts on whether or not season 9 could be it. So till next time, guys, let me know what you all think down below. Comment if you like. Thank you all for tuning in live. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for tuning in post live after it's been uploaded already. Let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. And I will talk to you all later. Good night. Take care. I'm out.